Not too long ago, we had in the city of Accra the biggest electronic dam site, which also contributed massively to crippling the air quality that we have in the national capital. One of the reasons people see me often in nose masks, because the air quality in Accra is terrible. So the only protection, to a large extent, we have in terms of helping to purify the air, the environment, to a large extent, is the Achimota Forest.
The lungs of the capital.
Exactly. But for some reason, greed would not allow the political class to take their eyes off that particular stretch of land. It is as if any time people drive by it, they see people going in there to do their church service, they see, oh, this thing can occupy 20
some high-rise
buildings, and they are seeing dollar signs. So, and I'm saying this without disrespecting the Wu family, because we are told that this thing is being done because of pressure or insistence by the Wu family, who are supposed to be the original owners of parts of the land or of the entirety of the land, that they want the land returned to them. Now, the property in question was compulsorily acquired by the government. The likes of Occupy Ghana, the likes of the engineers of this particular country, members of parliament, citizens have repeatedly said that there is no justification at this point, even if the government does not intend to put the site to good use or to develop it in a way as to serve a true purpose for the people of Ghana. Its existence alone presently serves a good purpose, which is helping us to breathe properly in the national capital. So absolutely no justification should be advanced in support of a quest to reclassify portions of it for purposes of developing them into high-rise buildings, private homes for politicians and related cronies, churches who we hear are also, falling over each other to get large portions of the property we're talking about. So it was mooted that they wanted to reclassify the place. And then we heard that, pressure came in. As they were talking about it, the news came in that Sir John, of blessed memory, who previously was the head of the Forestry Commission, had actually, allegedly, apportioned portions of that very property to some persons within his will. That's a matter which is still sub judice, being discussed at the court. But the central issue which came to public attention was that some parts of the Achimota Forest formed part of the so-called estate of the departed Sir John, and that it had become a matter of serious conversation on our airwaves. We discussed it extensively. The government told us that they were going to initiate investigations. A matter was sent to the OSP, who initiated quickly efforts in the courts to have those affected, facilities and parts of the forest affected frozen in the interest of the good people of Ghana. Somehow, the judge who sat on the matter took the view that, look, as of the time that Sir John was alive, there was no lawful action against him regarding the issues raised concerning the Achimota Forest and related lands, including the Ramsar side. There were also claims to that effect. And therefore, he was not minded to make an order stalling further efforts regarding the landed properties we're talking about. The OSP told us that they intended to appeal the decision. Before coming on air, we've not been able to establish what the state of that matter is personally, but we do know that in a different development or in a related development, some people related to the late former General Secretary of the MPP are litigating.
Forestry Commission boss as well.
Yeah, no, they are litigating. Yes, yeah. Okay. So they are litigating. They are contesting validity of the will and related issues. If my memory serves me correctly. So we got to that point, and then the government said they were going to investigate, and then demands were made, and then promises were made. Just last week, we had information that some officials close to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources went to the Achimota Forest area to carry out what appears to be physical reclassification. Cutting portions, plotting and doing all kinds of things, with the intention to, as we learn, return portions of the forest to its original owners. And we are hearing that when that is done, then the family will now have the authority to alienate the property or the landed property in question to people that it thinks they should have. What we're hearing is that churches are involved, big churches in this country, big politicians in this country, big businesses are involved, and the idea is to take a huge portion of this sprawling piece of land, which helps all of us to breed in this national capital, and then share it in a way that the family would deem fit, of course, to the detriment of all of us. My respectful view is that this is bad for the national capital. It is against everything that the Constitution speaks about, because in any case, the likes of Occupy Ghana have told us in this country that the regime, the legal regime talking about when you can't use the property, you should return it to its original owners, does not even apply to the current issue surrounding the Achimota Forest, because this was something that was even quite long before our national constitution came into effect. You understand? So they have stated publicly their position on the matter. The engineers and planners, they have also spoken on this matter. Now let me take you to those two pieces of
legislation. The EI.
So there's an EI which caused the reclassification.
Declassifying the Achimota Forest.
It is almost always assumed with our contest that official acts are regularly performed, unless you have evidence to prove the contrary.
Right.
I don't want to question the motives of government surrounding this particular matter, but you have read from people who know the space truly well details pointing out the fact that compensation was paid. Now, I do not believe in injustice. If someone's property is taken over compulsorily by the state for purposes of putting it to public use, our laws have always insisted that compensation be paid. On the facts, as you read them, and if the facts are to be believed from people who know the space better, is that £4,000 of 19 Kojohoho was paid by the colonial administration to the family. Now, unless there is some evidence to the contrary that the said money was not paid, I do not see any justification why the insistence keeps coming back that the people belonging to that family deserve to be returned the property in issue. Because it is government's duty to look for the records. The planners will not put it there if it is not part of the documents covering the said space. They know it. That's why they put it there. And if they are to be believed, then government should be telling us something wiser. The suggestion that compensation has not been paid, and therefore we should return the parcel of land to them in question. I mean, it raises all kinds of issues, because those records, if they do exist, and the contention is that they exist, would be in the records of government. And so government should make the effort to find those records. And it doesn't seem to me as though there is a genuine reason why we should reclassify. The only reason it does seem they are reclassifying is to ensure that people who are interested in making that part of the capital city the new concrete jungle get their share, paying whatever they may pay as compensation for getting a portion of it. But we should reject that as citizens of this country, because, as I said, Accra has ballooned in a truly big way. We have done under this administration so much damage to the environment using our greed and appetite for galamsey gold. Large portions of our land's forest reserves have been desecrated, destroyed beyond recovery for so many years. Half-hearted attempts were made by the government to save the situation. But we got to know that people close to the administration, for some reason, played their own part in how these things came to be. Sometimes justified, other times unjustified. Some would argue. But the fact is, we have destroyed the forest cover of this country. Previous governments also made incursions into forest reserves, allowing people to go and explore for all kinds of natural resources. This government has also signed agreements to that effect concerning bauxite and other natural, minerals. So the forest reserves of this country are under siege by both the state and citizens of the republic, including chiefs and opinion leaders. And the only grail left for us in the national capital, anytime they drive past, the Achimota Forest, they are seeing dollar signs. Anytime people drive past, so it is like a huge tract of land sitting there. We think that it is not of any use. So the only thing we can think of, let's cut it out
and build
something there. I mean, go to the children's park. It is in a horrifying state. You cannot put it to any useful use because we don't have parks in this country. The trees we have, people get up and cut them anyhow. Previously, if you were going from the 37 military hospital towards Burma camp, you saw massive, tree cover there. We removed them. General Rawlings cried about it, but we did nothing about it. So the only way we could breathe properly came down to what? The Achimota Forest. And some way, somehow, I remember the Mahama administration said that they wanted to do some eco park, something there.
Yeah.
We resisted it. Now we have seen the grandfather of initiatives like that, which is, let's hide behind the talk of returning it to the old family and then let the family decide how it is put to use. I think we should reject that. It is not in our interest. We do not even think it is in the interest of the old family. In this case, we have been told, unless government has any record to the contrary, that the family has been paid compensation. They cannot now, with the greatest respect, be coming back to tell us that compensation has not been paid and therefore we should return the land. We have to stop it. We have to stop it.
They should reimburse.
The law,
go for their money.
You see, the decision to reclassify, with the greatest respect, is unreasonable. It is an abuse of presidential and executive discretion, if there was ever one. And it is something that, when the time comes, the courts would have to intervene.
Yeah.
The people of Ghana, even before then, have got to raise their voices.
Yeah.
There must be collective action to stop this, because the 270,000 people who would die by estimate as a result of the reclassification that is going on and the subsequent development we expect to see in the space.
Yeah.
You don't know who it is.
Yeah, it could be anyone.
It could be anybody living in Accra. 270,000 people. That's what the estimate tells us from the experts we've spoken to this morning. 270,000 people. And 207, let that sink in. 270,000 people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. So, if this government is actually thinking about the citizens of this country, those who are alive today, those who will be born tomorrow, and those who will be born so many years after we are gone, this irresponsible presidential and ministerial decision has got to be reversed. Because it sins against everything environment that we have come to learn. Greed should not drive us to the point of sacrificing the only thing left, protecting you and I from the land diseases of this world. It is utterly irresponsible, it is unreasonable, and it is the decision that flies in the face of all the data that people have put out, speaking against the decision to reclassify.